All right. Welcome to the Hurley Investments Market View Commentary for Monday evening, June 26. My name is Kevin Hurley. Glad to be here with you today. I most recently just got back. I just got back from California at 3:15 a.m. this morning, up at 7 to see the market open at 7:30. And promptly fell asleep at 3:30 p.m. to wake up 15 minutes ago. Welcome to a busy day in the life of watching the stock market and doing what I do. Yeah, Lee, that's a messed up schedule. Things did not work out the way they were supposed to. But with that said, I did spend all of last week with my parents, my brothers, and their families. So that's, wives, nephews, nieces. It was a great trip. And it was funny because a lot of them were talking about, well, we spent a lot of time. So let me just go ahead and put this into perspective. We enjoyed my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. And spent a lot of time talking about work. We're in that 39 to 40 to 47 years old range. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure any of my brothers enjoy their jobs at all. I also don't think that they have as much saved as they'd like to for retirement. So, questions kept coming up on how to make $1 million overnight and how I could do what I do for work. So if I could ask this group, how would you answer either one of those questions? How would you answer either one of those questions? It's fun, so you do it for the money. That's an interesting one, but not quite. Really, how might you answer those questions? It is a bit of a tricky question. Dave, you're doing it for yourself anyway, so why not do it for others as well? So, Dave, you've heard me say that in the past, and that's 100% correct. I'm doing it for myself anyway, so why not do it for others as well. I agree with that 100%. And that brings me to something when someone asked, well, how do you make the $1 million overnight? And really, you don't. And in all honesty, I looked at my brothers and I said, you don't. There is no one thing works every single time. There is no, hey, you just pick it and you magically get rich. It's just not there in real life. And that's the key. The key to help my brothers understand in real life, the market is ever changing. No single rule / trade / investment works perfectly. And the change is what I like figuring out. I liked it. A lot, a lot of junkie getting email says it's easy. Yeah, after you pay them tons and tons of money, right? So, yes, you're right. And I think that, how would I say it? I'm trying to figure, give me a second here. I think what it came out to, because of that, Lee, I realized that, and let's see if I can say this way I want to say it. I realized that I would risk looking stupid, feeling ashamed, that I would take the risk to, and I'm going to put it this way, to own my process of learning how to make money in the stock market. It took years. It really did take years. It took not going through a program and listening to a class, but taking the classes over again. It took me doing each trade 5 times, 3 times the way I thought it would go, and 2 times doing it completely wrong to see how bad it would affect my portfolio. It took me 3-ring, 3-inch binders of printing off the spreadsheets and the class notes and taking class notes and tracking my trades to get to where I am today. And I think the point was I would risk looking stupid, feeling ashamed. I would take the risk to own my own process of learning it so that it would be mine, so that it would be me that was willing to prove that I could do it. I guess the other way to look at it would mean I would need to let go of the shame, and I'm saying shame and let's say vulnerability. Maybe that's the way I want to say it. To make sure that I could collar trade for profits and figure out how to be profitable in 2008. I do think, if you're going to ask me, I think we still have room to run in this bull market. I'm trying to let some things go, but I'm doing so paying very close attention to our markets. If I was going to insert a picture here, come on. Our Dow looks like it's just a little bit overbought. It's just brushing up against it. It's just kind of sitting there. I think we can stay overbought for a little bit longer if we have some interesting news coming from the G20 and from President's meeting. If you put the S&P in here, it looks very much the same. So we might be sitting on a pretty flat week this week until we get some information on Friday. That also happens to be the last day of the month, and it's a quarter. So if you're going to ask me where we're going to finish this week, I would tell you lower, as mutual funds sell profits to end the quarter and before next week's holiday week. So that's what I would tell you that's coming up. And I'm trying to set positions up for that. I'm trying to look at where we're going to go. I'm trying to make sure that I take a peek out there and say, hey, you know what? I like what I see. I'm disappointed we couldn't hold the gains today. For that reason, if you were to ask me where we're going to finish July, I would tell you pretty easily 06/24 2019. I'm going to give us a plus 2.5%. Even though we're up 6, I do think we'll probably have a bit of a sell-off and probably come down and maybe test the 50-day. I want to be wrong. That's the way the market should go. But in all reality, there's a good chance we're going to get some good news and we could see some things take off. We could hear that Trump had a great meeting, that we're going to get the groups back together, and that we could see a pretty good, some type of restart of our negotiations. We run the risk of Iran right now. There's a lot that can happen. So I would say there's a lot happening this week. G20, Trump-Xi meeting, end of quarter. So you probably have a quadruple witching, right? quadruple witching. I don't know. Iran sanctions and their reaction. We have what else do we have? We have holiday week next week, where I believe it's on Thursday. On Thursday, we'll have our markets closed. Thursday, markets closed for 4th of July. So a lot's happening. It's pretty interesting. As I was taking a look at earnings, which I go to briefing.com. Earnings. As I took a look at just maybe some of the more important ones, right? We have Micron tomorrow after the market closes. We have FedEx tomorrow after the market closes. Lennar, a home builder, reports. As I kind of went through it a little bit more, not a whole lot per se, but Micron and FedEx could go quite a bit. FedEx is going to try to sue the Trump administration. We have BlackBerry. We have General Mills. I don't pay any more attention to Paycheck, but we have Fuller Homes. We have KB Homes. Herman Miller does the paneling and stuff for businesses. They used to be somewhat of a bellwether, but not anymore. On Thursday, you have ConAgra. If you pay any attention, Walgreens Boot Alliance is one that I follow. McCormick is one that I follow. But most important, I think we're going to follow Nike. Nike's going to really tell us what we'd expect to see as the world economy, if it's slowing down or not. And then last but not least, nothing that I saw there on Friday. I might put Constellation Brands because they always seem to do good. I might follow their report, but it's a pretty slow week for earnings. So let me fill in the earnings that I said. Micron, FedEx, and Lennar. Kind of scary that FedEx is thinking of suing the Trump administration. I wonder if they're going to have bad earnings. We'll know a lot tomorrow after the close on the world growth or the U.S. growth when it comes to shipping as well. BlackBerry, Goldman Mills, Fuller, and KB Homes. Thursday, ConAgra, Walmart, Walgreens Boot Alliance, McCormick, and Nike. And then we have Constellation Brands. Economic reports. Nothing today. Schiller tomorrow. The FHFA. Housing Price Index. What else do we have? Consumer confidence. And we also have new home sales. Kind of feels like it's a home sales week, right? Wednesday, durable goods. And we have the durable without transportation. That'll be an important number. Thursday, initial continuing claims. We have our GDP, third and final estimate. GDP deflator. And we also have pending home sales. And then Friday, personal income, personal spending. Those two always go hand in hand. The PECE price index. Going to look at our inflation, the core PCE, and the Michigan sentiment. Nothing internationally other than the G20 meeting and the meeting with President Xi. Let's see what else I'm looking at. So a couple people asked me about, Kevin, how do you come up with the news? And in all honesty, I get quite a bit, and as I find stuff, I just send it to myself. And I have quite a bit. So when I'm looking at stuff that interests me, I literally just send it to myself via email so that I can share it with you guys. I found a ton this week. A lot of people ask me, how can you still be in Facebook? And they're literally creating an amazing currency. I want to say a Bitcoin currency, but it's a cryptocurrency that's going to allow 2 billion people, some that do not have even checking accounts, have the opportunity to literally trade in dollars and have their currency valued at a better price than all honesty, than it typically is. I think there's a huge opportunity in Facebook. And because of that, some leap long calls are something I've been in for a while. So the rally could last a lot longer than people think. Pretty interesting to see a little bit on some of the things that Kramer finds that way. What else did I find here? And then I just delete it. I was talking about Facebook. Facebook plans its own currency. I think this is why we are getting the pop on Facebook right now. So the short answer is I find these things, I literally just email them to myself. I review them and I see if any of it can be helpful for you guys. And off I go. I just take it and I send it to myself and I share it with you as I find things that can be interesting or helpful. I always give the proper credit to those that have written these articles. No use to pretend that some of this is mine, right? No, I got this one from Rachel Lehman. But I just find interesting opportunities to find things that I then share with you. I usually, when I go through these, I then am going to go back and I'm going to check the numbers. If I can duplicate if I can duplicate their numbers, then I'm going to share it with you. What else do we have? I had a lot this time. Here's what the stock market liked from the Fed. I thought this one was pretty interesting because in all reality, if I was to ask you guys, what did Powell say? What did Powell say? Anyone know? It moved our markets last week. What did Powell say? Come on, guys, this is important. What did Powell say? Does nobody remember? Am I still there? Or did I lose all you guys? It looks like I'm still there. Lance, thank you. Pretty funny. But no, Powell does not say he was going to do what Trump says and cut interest rates. He took out the word patience. And the one dissenting vote says that they should do a rate hike. So it was 8-1. And the one dissent was saying, hey, we need a rate hike, not a rate cut. He did take out the word patience. We saw rates go back down to below 2. And in all honesty, he's just sitting and waiting to see if we'll use our tools as appropriate to sustain the expansion. He's going to let the market and the economy tell us if he needs to do a rate hike. In all honesty, if I was to ask this group, anyone expecting a rate hike this year? Or is it going to be a rate cut this year? Or could they just stand pat and do a whole lot of nothing? What do you guys think? Dave, you think there's going to be a rate cut? Why? Why is there going to be a rate cut? What in our economy right now would signal a rate cut? Lance, then it must be a rate hike. So, Lance, I'm going to ask you the same question. What signals a rate hike in our economy right now? So, Dave, you don't know what signals a rate cut. And I'll be honest with you, I don't either. I don't know what would signal a rate cut right now as well. Just because your president wants a rate cut doesn't mean you're going to get a rate cut. So I don't see a slowdown. At least I didn't in the last earnings. And most recently, I read that people think that we're going to get a push of earnings through this third quarter. So yes, I don't see a rate cut on the horizon. A rate hike. Pretty interesting because I just made the comment. I thought Powell promised a cut in July 31st, global economy slowing. the global economy is not Powell's problem. In all honesty, if you go through and you find out that last week all 18 banks passed the stress test, there was a global slowdown. Does not mean the U.S. is going through a slowdown. And their job is full employment, right? What's the second part of their job? Full employments and interest rates. In fact, I don't think the Fed has enough. If there's a slowdown, they need to raise, in my opinion. They need a couple more rate hikes to be available to them. They don't have it right now. So, just something to pay attention to. It would not surprise me if nothing's done. In my opinion, if nothing was to be done, I could see no rate hikes and no rate cuts through the end of the year. With that said, I was quite proud that American Outdoor Brands Corp beat on their earnings, but in all honesty, they've given everything back. So it was very, very short-lived, but this is one that's giving most people a good opportunity to possibly get in one more time as it runs back higher. But they've done everything right. They really have done everything right. Just shocked it gave it all back so quickly. So, with that said, this week I think we're more on a wait and hold. I think we're going to be paying attention to Friday, and it would not surprise me to see some profit taking at the end of the quarter that we would most likely get back again first thing next week. So, with that said, any questions? Any questions you guys have that I can answer for you? Kevin, how was your vacation? Well, it's funny because my vacation usually means I'm still in front of a computer. I just try to do it at the beach. I try to do it at Disneyland. I tried to do it by the pool of a World Mark. But my vacation, seeing the brothers, seeing their families, spending with my parents for their 50th wedding anniversary, it was a blast. So, Lance, thank you for asking. Balance of power. Executive branch is balanced by the powers of the government. So I always thought the executive branch was balanced by the legislative branch and by, you know, Congress. In fact, if you want it my way, I would tell you Supreme Court, Congress, President, for all intents and purposes, balance each other out. Congress, judicial, thank you. I'm going to call that, well, I think they balance each other out. When it comes to the Fed is supposed to be separate. And I'll be honest with you, the Fed is managing the banks and the go-betweens. I don't really call it part of the government, so to speak. But I don't think they're balancing power at all. I think they're just working independently, at least they should be, right? Independently on full employment and interest rates and giving ourselves or our economy the best opportunity as we're becoming more of a world global economy, giving ourselves the best opportunity to be okay in this type of market or this kind of arena. So I think it's kind of funny that Trump tries to push Powell around. I would give big kudos and credit to Powell that he's been able to fight off the pressure and the president. I like to see him doing his own thing. And I agree. I don't think he can be overridden by the president. I think that's going to be interesting for him to try. And I really think the president with him, wrong idea, wrong way to try to make, wrong way to try to do, to try to get help from your Fed, to belittle them and to try to strong arm them around. I know. What website do you use to get an accurate read on the SPY, SPX? I use stockcharts.com. So that's what I look at, and that's what helps me when it comes to looking at the SPY and the SPX. I also would just grab it out of E-Trade. So pretty simple there. Just try to take a peek at it, and in all honesty, it doesn't have to be 100% accurate. It just has to let me see what's happening as the markets are going down and or up, and if we're seeing a change in trend, which I usually will look to, honesty, 3 or 4 days to prove itself out. Why do I believe in Baidu? Lance, you're killing me. I believe in Baidu because, in all honesty, I've ridden Baidu from 135 up to 775. I've made more money on Baidu than any other stock in my lifetime. Nvidia probably comes to be a close second. So I like it because it gives me international exposure. I like what they've been doing. I understand they necessarily can't be trusted, but they're so low right now. I think it's a good play for some leap long calls to, I don't know, to take advantage of a bounce back after China and the U.S. get our stuff together. Don't necessarily have to go buy them at $116, $118 a share, but for $22, you could buy them out for 2 years, and I guarantee you, there's no reason why they can't be double their price. They can't be up to 220 or 284 like they were before this whole debacle. Some leap long calls could make you a killing. Are there any other questions? If not, I want to thank you guys for being here tonight. I should get this posted first thing tomorrow morning, if not tonight. Usually I don't get the sign off though till tomorrow morning. Really a pretty sit and wait week while we wait to see how things turn out between the G20, Xi and Trump. I would expect it to be some good news that at least we get back together to start the process again. And off we go to the races, guys. Appreciate you being here. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, for the trade findings and adjustments. I've got 2 or 3 thoughts that I'm going to throw out to you. Could be a possible trade available. Otherwise, guys, have a wonderful week. And if I don't see you Tuesday night, I will look forward to seeing you next Monday. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.